Hello, welcome to the People Profit Podcast, the show where we flip the script on traditional business thinking and prove that when you put people first, profits follow. I'm Sandra Coker, your guide on this journey to more engaged teams, loyal customers, and a healthier bottom line. These episodes are brought to you by Human Power Solutions, helping organizations unlock the human potential that powers performance. Whether you're a leader, an HR pro, or a curious change maker, buckle up. We're diving into fresh stories, real-world strategies, and a few laughs along the way. Ready to turn your workplace into a profit-powered people machine? Let's get started. Welcome to the People Profit Podcast, where we explore how investing in your people drives real business success. I'm Sandra Coker, author of People Profit and CEO of Human Power Solution. And this show is dedicated to leaders who want to create cultures where everyone thrives. Today, we're talking about leadership philosophies that transform employee experiences and organizational outcomes with an inspiring guest, Dr. Kim Allen, a two-time author, podcaster, and self-made leader who's guided teams through major transformations at Comcast. She's here to share how modeling excellence can elevate your team and the bottom line. Get ready for practical insights you can apply right away. Let's dive in. Dr. Kim, welcome to the People Profit Podcast. I'm thrilled to have you today.
Sandy, I am so happy to be here. And I want the audience to know if they're not watching this, they're missing it because you and I are actually dressed the same. And we look so pretty. And that's all that matters, right?
We're twinning today. I love it.
It's pretty. Very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. I want to actually start off with your story. Can you tell us a little bit about, Dr. Kim's journey through this world of business?
Sure. Bottom line, I was one of the lucky ones when I graduated college on a plane Sunday, started training Monday with Johnson & Johnson. So I went into the whole pharmaceutical thing for a long time. I just never got off the academic rhythm. So I just kept going to school, married, kids, the whole thing, but I still kept going to school, got my master's in women in leadership, my doctorate in leadership also. Started by myself, just getting into coaching because I'd been coaching all along anyway. And from that, just started my own company and working again by myself toward leadership effectiveness. That's always been what's important to me. And from there, wrote my first book, Relead, and my second book, Reengage.
But mainly, I was a little in awe when I first met you. Your energy and just what you've done. So I'm hoping that the audience kind of gets that feeling. I have the awness, but also the realness that you bring to the table. So when you in some of the prep notes as I was prepping for this, you say that one of your defining experience was as an NPS coach at Comcast during a major cultural shift, right? So first, can you explain what NPS is for those in the audience that don't know what that is? And then can you share that story and how it shaped your view on linking employee treatment to customer service, which obviously is near and dear to my heart. That's what our book is about, right? So,
of course. So NPS stands for Net Promoter Score. And that's actually a measurement. And everybody watching or listening to this has been affected by it. So an NPS score for organization is based on the survey that organization will send to you immediately after any transaction. So it could be Verizon with your phone bill. It could be you leaving a restaurant. And all the surveys are the same on a scale of 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
How would you rank or would you recommend this product or this company to another person or to a friend? So there's a series of questions. And Comcast actually spent a lot of money. NPS is not, it used to be few organizations who used it. And now there's probably no one on the planet who doesn't use it.
Yeah, a lot of my clients.
Right. It's actually a pulse check. It's an immediate pulse check, which is great. So one thing that Comcast did, which a lot of companies that do NPS do not do this, and I think this is important. Comcast went a step further and paid a lot of money for this to actually send out these scores. It's called eNPS. So it's employee Net Promoter Score. So it's the employees who will rank their boss, their leader. So
Wow.
it's ranked, right? And it was so beautiful because there's a comment section, just we as consumers can fill in, but also for employees. And for the most part, it was always professionally ranked. But what happened is that the leaders knew where they stood. And that was, for me, very important because I was seeing that what we do, Sandy, with our customers, we're always putting our best foot forward and they come first and we listen to them and we acquiesce to them and we want them to be happy, but we don't do that for our employees. Why? I don't know. But that was a big lesson learned for me, that we should treat our employees as if they are our clients or our customers, because that's how you move your needle. That's when they're satisfied.
And I love that. And that's the premise of our document, or it's the premise of your talks, is when everything's running well internally, your clients are going to get an amazing experience. Because there's, they don't have to put their best foot forward because they're already feeling good, right? So I love that. So when you talk about your leadership philosophy, your philosophy of don't tell them why, show them how. So that kind of, I read that and I was like, I was talking to our leaders about telling them why they should be doing this. I'd love to hear that philosophy and what that means to you. And how does modeling the behavior and the attitude and excellence help leaders inspire their teams in today's, pretty dynamic, diverse workplace?
Right. That's a really good question, Sandy. And all right, so don't tell me why, show me how. I probably saw that years ago and it just stayed in my mind, which is why my books are actually based on that. Because let's talk about the fact that I always say to my audience, no matter who I'm in front of, is everyone here over the age of 18? And of course they say yes. I'm like, well, thank goodness, because we're all adults. And the biggest problem that everyone has is they don't know how to adult well. So when we're talking about having a captive audience that they know how to adult, well, that's it showing up. They know we are at work, we are employees. Even if we're leaders, we're still employees. So we pretty much know what we have to do, but we don't know how to do it. So again, as far as leadership is concerned, you're talking about that excellence, right? So it's not intuitive. It is not intuitive that that your leadership is going to prevail, but that is actually something that we should be doing. We should be showing other people how to do something. If you're building a better widget, show them how to do that. Don't tell them why they need to do it. They know they need to do that, right?
Yeah.
As far as all of us, even if we're not leaders, if we're individual contributors going to work, we're still followers.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know how to follow well either, right? So we have the leaders, we have the followers, but the bottom line is, as leaders, it's incumbent upon the leaders to make sure that you are your message, that you are showing them how, even something simple as how to treat other people. As adults, really, do we need that? Well, apparently we do, because we've got 15 billion executive coaches out there in the world, right?
Yeah.
Well, somehow they're needed because they need to go in and relay how to do something better. It's not intuitive for us.
I think that's so fascinating. I think, when we're talking with our clients and you're talking with yours, I'm sure everyone learns so differently. So when we can actually show them either through a Zoom conversation or screen sharing a Loom video for instructions, or just helping them walk through it, that's huge for people to really get where you're coming from. Because I think we all make assumptions, don't we? Like, oh, you know how to do this. You can read my mind.
Right. That's the worst thing that we can do. And we all do that. But I will tell you, I know I keep referring to my book, Re-Engaged, because the book is actually a workbook, but it's based on all these different chapters. One of them is on learning styles. And Sandy, I'm so glad that you brought this up, because I'm telling everyone that we do not know. People say you should know your audience. And I would think, how do you know your audience? There's actually some common factors that everyone globally have or do. And we should know that. And something that Sandy, you just said is so key, that there are so many different type of learning styles, but there's only 5 that you really need to pay attention to.
Right.
But the bottom line is, if you have people and you pretty much know that they're visual learners, okay, these are people that like to watch videos. And if you're not going to show them that, okay, it's like going to college, right? And you're visual and you have a professor that stands there for 2 hours and lectures, lecture is death. You're not reading the room, right? We need to actually go to our audience in many different ways, not just in a visual way, not just in an auditory. And it's not hard to do, but we don't know that. We don't know that. People don't know what they don't know, but I'm glad you're bringing that up because you're right.
And I love the fact you're bringing up your book, because I think your book is a great resource for people. It is a working book. So you're read about the philosophies, then you can actually do some practice and implement what is being offered. So please reference your book. We want the audience to know about that. And
I have a copy right here.
there you go. How surprising is that?
All you have to do in the book, just read the table of contents and just go to the chapter that you want to learn more about. It's very easy things.
I love it. So you describe yourself as self-made, learning through observation. You didn't have a mentor. Can you walk us through your journey, a little bit more in depth than what you did earlier, from your early roles to co-founding Self Perspective and then authoring those 2 books on leadership? When I think about your journey and I've had mentors all along the way. I've been very fortunate, and as I meet new people, I'm like, I want to learn from you. What was that like to kind of figure it out on your own?
Great question. You are the queen of great questions. So, so I was coming through the ranks. I was almost always the only woman in the room, the only woman at the table.
Yeah.
And I felt a big responsibility. And I remember the days where, especially after I got my doctorate, and I would be sitting at a table in a pharmaceutical organization, blah, blah, blah. And everyone sitting around had, their doctorates, and it was like, so Mr. Green or Mr. George or Mr. Jones or Mr. Pink, Kim. I wasn't even, oh yeah, that happened all the time, right? So I never had a mentor. I never had a sponsor. I always had to knock walls down and kick doors open. Thank God I'm from Philly because we do that well. Kick doors open for myself because no one would do that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was always like, all right, you're on your own, Kim. So what I did, because coming from the pharmaceutical world, I have a triple type A personality. I will never apologize for that. I light up a room. I will never apologize for that. I am who I am, and that's where it ends, right? And I work with that. So one thing I found that, especially I'm bringing like the medical field, the medical equipment and pharmaceutical field, a lot of, a sea full of like beautiful people. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you stand out? And, everyone's like kind of like jumping up and down and like dancing in front of like the leaders, like, me type thing. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. So I just thought, I'm just going to be me, just going to do my thing. And I'm going to stand out that way. And I did. So in my journey, the way that I did things was on my own, and I'm the highest level communicator and engager ever. But I actually would pause and I would just observe people, which is why now that I've actually become an expert in body language. So I walk a room, everyone's talking to me already and they haven't said a word. And that's like my superpower. So for me, what I did was I decided I was going to do it on my own, and I was going to surround myself by the people that I wanted to be like when I grew up. So I did that, and I still do that to this day. And I also look at the gifts in other people who are not like me, people who were introverts, the quiet, shy ones. I love them. Them. That's right. And what I do is I give them the floor because I will always take the floor. I'm a take charge person, but I'm astute. I will back up and let them have the floor because I want them to have the chance. And I'm seeing people who were introverts become extroverts. Yeah. Comfortable in front of other people. So again, I'm self-made. I'm not bitter about that, but I will say right now, there's a lot more opportunities for people, men, women, everyone, to have a sponsor or a mentor. And my ask of you is to ask someone to do that for them.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I was with some young leaders on Wednesday of last week, and we were talking about mentors, how important they are, and how, I'm like, get one in your department, but then get one outside of your department, or even outside of the band or whatever, right? So someone, because they're gonna learn just as much from you. And I think from being a mentor myself, and I'm sure you've mentored now in your career, right? Because you learn so much from what's going on in the work world, and B, it helps you to frame your perspectives as well.
It does. And thank you for bringing up the books. And I'll tell you something. My gosh, I just do things. I don't ask permission, right? And no one said to me, you should write a book. Actually, people were saying that, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I was like, well, I've not been formally mentored or, sponsored. And I've written 2 books about that. Yeah. I think that speaks to the experience of not having doors open for you. Yeah. And seeing what it takes. So that grit inside of you to do that. And I think that's That's why, I will die on the mountain of leadership is not intuitive.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care who you are. You don't wake up being the best leader in the world. Something had to happen that makes you that.
Yeah. You have traits, but you still have to learn the skills, right? So let me, I want you to get some tactical. We hear women all the time saying, or people all the time saying, I broke down the doors, I kicked it in, I did it myself. But what are some of the actual tactics that you use? Like, how can we give some of these young people, like, this is what I did. This is the courses that I took. This is how I improved myself. Like, can you give us some real meat in that regard?
Yeah. So I'm going to say up front, be unafraid.
Okay.
Be unafraid, because the worst thing someone can say to you is no. And coming from the sales background, no doesn't always mean no.
Yeah.
No can mean maybe, or no can mean not now.
No soliciting is welcome. Come on in my world.
Right. So, all right. So I'm going to give you a visual first. So I remember when I was this is back when the sales reps could go anywhere in the hospital. And I would see in a hospital, so I'm at home in a hospital, I would see a door that would say authorized personnel only. And I would say, that's me. So I would just actually walk in the door, because I had a sales bag carrying everything from surgeon's gloves to you name it. So I could sell anything. But what I've learned from that is that I'm not afraid. I just called, okay, I'll tell you something. Here's something for everyone. That on my podcast coming up very soon is Miss America.
Oh my God.
What? I know.
I'm on your podcast. I can't believe it.
What's that?
I said, I'm on your podcast. I can't believe it. I'm just kidding. That's so cool. How do you land that?
You know what? I just talk to people, and I'm afraid, because you know what? She's human. I just spoke to a big politician yesterday to try to get them on my podcast, and that could be a maybe. But the point is, I am unafraid of picking up the phone and meeting people or calling people, or I'm big on handwriting notes. Okay. Showing up, and literally, I'm going to say this, that in college, one of my best friends, she's beautiful, blonde hair, blue eye, gorgeous girl, which she was a model. And you would walk into the mall, there'd be cardboard cutouts of her in front of, I forget the name of the store, but oh my gosh, American, it's not American Eagle. Okay. But this, but the point I'm making, Sandy, is that she never went to proms or anything, because people were afraid of her, because she was everyone was intimidated by her, because she was so beautiful, and she was the nicest person. Oh my God, we still laugh all the time. But the point I'm making, everyone, is people. They're just people. Like you and I. And even though they may think that they're self-important, the tactical part of that is to reach out to them, be unafraid, have to ask. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of people do not ask Miss America to be on their podcast. And she said yes. She said yes. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Be unafraid, though, to do the extra. If you know someone that knows someone, see if they'll introduce you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And sometimes with that 6 degrees of separation, sometimes it takes 2 people to get to the person that you want. I write letters to the CEOs of organizations all the time. Yeah. And one of them has gotten back to me 3 times, and it was about my books.
I love it.
I'm audacious, and and you know what? The people love me. They're not afraid of me. They're not intimidated by me. So I usually get what I want.
Yep. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, all right. So we're going to dial back, because that was really good stuff. So hopefully someone took notes. Everyone took notes on that, right?
Running a business is hard. Developing your people shouldn't be. At Human Power Solutions, we act as your outsourced chief learning officer, designing custom learning and development experiences that actually move the needle. No fluff, no cookie cutter workshops, just results. Whether your people need better communication, stronger leadership, or less burnout, we provide strategic solutions that align with your goals and keep your team moving forward. Visit hpowersolutions.com and unlock your team's full potential without disrupting operations.
So when we think about our workplaces today, and they're changing, right? They're becoming more diverse and more purpose-driven. How does your philosophy address challenges like building confidence and creating safe and psychological safe environments for the employees to contribute? So how does that all kind of come into play?
One thing that I have found, and I'm going to say this as an executive coach, because I know this to be true, and executive coaches are not going to be happy for me to say that, but I know for a fact that a lot of people do not keep the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really important that we do as leaders, that we need to keep the confidence, because if we have direct reports reporting to us and they're coming in and they're telling you something,
Mm-hmm.
you've got their life and their career in the palm of your hands, and possibly children at home to feed. That, you know, some people can take that and crush that, right?
Right.
But I think that the safety part of that is, first of all, to make people safe, they need to be safe. So we, again, need to establish that's whatever the safety boundaries are. But I also think, too, a safety part, which is hard to believe it's under safety, but it is that we need to include everyone. We need to give the floor to everyone.
Yep.
We need to give the microphone to everyone. That's safety for them, because then they're going to feel comfortable to speak out. And maybe they've never been invited to do that. But I think that is part of it, is to make sure that they feel confident. And I want people to feel confident because I'm giving them the floor, because I'm giving them the microphone, because I'm giving them that opportunity, and I want them to succeed. And I want them to succeed. I'm not doing it in order to embarrass them or make them fail. So I think that's a really big part of it, that trustworthiness. Huge. Hard to have, huge. It's a really important factor.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, it's funny because you remember the old like management by while walking around, MWB, whatever that was, right? There needs to be more of that. Like I was so connected to my managers and the executives because they were hanging out with us. They were seeing what we were doing and they were working side by side. And I feel like there's so many layers now that it's just like, I don't want to talk to this person. And I'm like, you know what? Who got walked their dog this morning? Who had coffee? Like everyone did. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your level of importance is. Just like you said, we're all people. And I'd love to have that infused more in the work environment that it is right now.
Yeah. I think that just by you putting that out there in the universe, Sandy, I think that that's a takeaway, that people absolutely need to become that. And you know what? There are some people out there who are self-important, but when I get done coaching them, they're not. But anyway, at the end of the day, right? Because I think it's that empathy part of it too. Because again, it's always all about how we show up.
Yeah.
And the people who are doing that, like you said, are those who are hanging out with us, those who are having fun with us.
Yeah.
Right? But I do think that we need a lot more empathy out there with our leaders, because they're looking that as a soft skill. Yeah, not at all.
No.
Oh my gosh. Gallup, you name it. Every futuristic survey coming out is saying that the empathy is always going to be a hardcore competency. And some people look at that as being weak. And I don't believe that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Whenever I hear soft skills, I'm like, no, actually it's essential skills. I'm like, that you have to have them. I think it's super fascinating. The other essential skill or core competency is emotional intelligence, right? That's the other big thing that we have, right?
Absolutely.
And we talk about emotional intelligence, reading the room, knowing yourself and reading the room. And for those leaders, and I would like to talk to our younger leader, the newer leaders that are listening here today, and our Gen Xers who might need a little practice in that. I'm just saying. For the leaders aiming to improve employee morale and retention, retention costs so much money. People don't understand what it actually is. So when there's people that like, I'm trying to get morale up here, I'm trying to improve our culture, retain our talent that's been so hard to get. What's a practical way? Again, I'm looking for some really tactical takeaways to use empathy and clarity in daily interactions, in the daily grind. How can we utilize these?
That's, again, you have great questions. All right, so I'm going to say this. It's perspective.
Yeah. Okay.
Because no matter what our age, first of all, the more seasoned we are, we should know better. Okay. And we don't act better sometimes.
Wow.
But when we're talking about the newer generations that are coming in, it's imperative that they understand this, that there's two things going on when you are working in a workplace, whether you're virtual or whether you are in brick and mortar. So it's always about how you show up, and how you show up has everything to do with your perspective. So if you are looking out at everyone else, that's one perspective, but I will tell you, no one does. They don't turn that around, and they're not thinking about how people are perceiving them. smartness, right? Their morale. It's
Yeah.
so important that people understand. First of all, emotional intelligence. I can save you from reading the entire book. It's all self-awareness, right? Know
Right.
thyself. That's great. If you know yourself, I am crystal clear on who I am. What I do though is I turn that around and I will ask for feedback, or people will give me feedback about how they perceive me. And thank goodness the way I want to be perceived is the way that they're perceiving me. I'm really fortunate. But there's sometimes that people, a leader, I will pick on you, that you show up, okay? And if you're miserable, if you're quiet,
Yeah.
or if you're introverted, does not mean that being miserable and introverted are the same thing. I promise you that your moods are being read like tea leaves by your team, and they're going to walk on eggshells around you. So I think that self-awareness means if you're an introvert, that's one of my favorite things to talk about, personality type. End of the day is if you are an introvert, that's great. But understand that people are seeing you being quiet. So maybe something like the tactical part is make eye contact with them, say good morning, say hello, how are you doing? Keep in touch with them. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very important that you remain present and you're looking at them and you're involving them and engaging with them in conversations. Very important that they do that.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And introverts can be great leaders. They really can be. Extroverts aren't always great leaders. We're a little scattered sometimes, to be honest. I'll give you an example. Last week, I really wasn't at my best. I was not at my best with my team. And like by Friday, I was feeling like, woof, like I'm not even practicing what I'm preaching, And I met with the team on Friday and I was like, I'm sorry. Like I owned it. Right. And it was like what could have blown up into a very big mushroom was like, no, this has not been my best week. And this is what are we going to do moving forward to help me and to help you. Right. So I think that's the ownership piece of it, that self-awareness, being able to, and maybe in the moment you can't see it. Right. Maybe in the moment it's just whatever's going on, whether external stressors or whatever. But you got to be able to do some self-reflection and come back, admit when things aren't great the right way,
Right. And Sandy, I just want to say one thing about what you did for your team by admitting that and by taking ownership is those people, some of them could have dwelled all weekend because if you were not yourself for whatever reason, they would internalize that as that they did something wrong. And they would dwell on that all week until Monday when they saw you again. And these are folks that have children at home to feed and spouses and things to do. And they're going to have that hanging over them. You did them a favor by doing that. So I applaud that.
Thank you. And I did myself a favor too, because I was feeling pretty shitty. Oh, sorry. Anyway, it's a podcast. We'll let it go. Can you talk a little bit? I told you this was going to be,
Love it.
Can you talk about leading in 3D?
Oh, leading in 3D. Well, 3D is that's actually the way life should be. Leading in 3D. So let's talk about 3D. What's 3D, right? You go someplace, you put on goggles, and it feels like the person, like right now I'm talking. So anyone who's listening to this can't see this, but it's almost, like right now I'm talking to you and you're seeing my really great red nails. But the point is that you can feel that, right? And I think that it's really important that we are in 3D now, and I'll tell you why. It's always been important, but it's different now because so many of us are virtual now. Right? So again, it's that 360 view that we see that in person when we were working in offices. But again, when we're looking at that 3D from 3D, even from individual and team member and what our mission is, right? It's really important that whatever we are doing, that we're encompassing that, because what we're doing is we're working toward it and we're solving for it, but we're solving for it in a way that it's going to be done, so we can move on. It's not always going to be hanging out there. But I think that the 3D part is really, really important. That everyone is not looking at things being two-dimensional anymore. But again, everyone knows what 3D is. That is how so when we're on camera, if you will, I'm not saying that we physically have to be jumping into the camera lens, but at the same time, we need to be present. And I'll give you one, this is in my book. This is my biggest pet peeve, especially when a leader has a Zoom call, Teams meeting, and their screen is black. John Smith, the leader, I know, right? Yeah. Right. So you know what? I forbid anyone to do that. If not, I will come for you. Do not do that to your team. Okay.
Yeah.
You are present so that they can at least see you. That's the first part.
Even if you're ugly, it's fine. Like we'll get Judy Jetson at some point. We'll get that. I'm waiting for that. But yesterday it was like Monday. It was raining here. I don't know if it was raining where you were, but it was just like I'm gonna wash my hair's super curly. I'm gonna wash my hair today. We're gonna have meetings all day on Zoom with just the team. And I'm like, sorry guys, this is just who it is, right? But the realness, the authenticity. I love the tool. I love the OWL tool. So our team is across the world, right? So we've got Nairobi, we've got Bangladesh, we've got Vermont, we've got just different people in different areas. So we have most of our Monday meetings, minus yesterday, early day, because I didn't feel like going in our office. And I'll set up the OWL. So the OWL gives everyone a perspective, it gives the office view as we're sitting there. So I can get up and stand and walk around and we can write on the whiteboards and things like that. And that's so interactive, and
it is.
There's a lot of tools out there that we can be using to embrace and to bring our teams together. And when we think about authenticity and adaptability, and those are the things that really stand out in successful leaders today. How do they do that? How do they balance? Like I like to call it serving with the heart. Leading with heart. How do you balance that with high standard?
That's actually a really good question. How do you balance having a heart and being an effective leader?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go way back. All right, I think a lot of it has to do with how you're raised.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, number one, it all starts in the home. Okay,
yeah.
But I see that a lot. I mean, the best leaders that I've ever had have been introverts and they've been extroverts. But I will tell you, the red thread, the common thread, is their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that regardless of your gender, that if you have the ability to have a heart, which means you do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what having a heart is. You always do the right thing. If you're comfortable always doing the right thing, you are always going to be successful, period. Because you're not caught up in that, I'm afraid of soft skills and I don't want to appear weak. And especially when I see women, high-powered men, I see it even on TV, some of the miniseries, they kick butt type people, but then you see that moment where they have a heart and they do the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, that happens in real life as well. And I think that actually, that we don't conflate the two of them, that they absolutely can exist at the same time. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. Teaching people to have a heart, it's like herding cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't teach anyone to have a heart, but I know if they have a heart, I'm seeing that through their empathy, I will make sure that we're bringing that to the forefront.
Yeah. I love that.
It's hard to teach that. If you're not nice, you're not nice.
It is. And it's, again, you've got to go through your own self journey and figure out where you are. I think that's just so important. I could talk to you all day. We probably will once we meet in person, I'm sure.
Of course.
So Dr. Kim, your work at Self Perspective and your podcast sound transformative. What can listeners gain from your books or your services, and how can they connect with you?
Okay, so as far as the connection part,
yes.
As far as I actually have this. I'm gonna actually put this forward so everyone can see. This is the logo for my Fabulous Women podcast studio.
Love it.
Miss America's coming. I got a lot of surprises for everyone. So that you can also find. Gosh, I don't want to give out too many email or websites.
No, we're gonna link everything below here for you. Yeah.
And it's both of my books. Okay. Reengage, and I happen to have these here. I'm going to show you right now. So Reengage and Re-Lead, they are available on Amazon, of course. And again, the umbrella that they sit under is leadership effectiveness. So I think it's really important, right? And I'm here for anyone if you have any questions for me, but you're going to be able to find me pretty easy. And my YouTube channel is Dr. Kim Ellen, where all of my videos sit. And also, just to let everyone know, for Reengage, the interesting thing about that, actually when the book begins, after every chapter, there's a QR code that you can actually go into, and I actually continue engaging with you even after you read the chapter, but it has a lot of coaching tips in it too. I can't stop engaging. That's who I am. So anyway.
I think book writing these days is very, it's changed. I think the QR codes and the interaction that we can now have within our books is so huge. So I'm excited to dive into both of those books as well. Thank you so much. What a fantastic discussion, Dr. Kim. Thank you so much. You shared empowering insights on leading by example and transforming employee experiences, from modeling excellence to building connected teams. You've given our listeners a roadmap to boost morale and drive success. That's it for today's People Profit Podcast. If this resonated with you, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. I'm Sandra Coker. Remember, invest in your people and profits will follow. See you all next time. Thanks again, Kim.
Thank you, Sandy.
That's a wrap on this episode of the People Profit Podcast. If you found a nugget of wisdom or even just a spark of inspiration, share the love, subscribe, leave us a review, and pass the episode along to a colleague who's ready to build a people-first culture. Big thanks to our sponsor, Human Power Solutions, for championing workplace where humans thrive and profits rise. Want to learn how they can energize your team? Head over to hpowersolutions.com to get started. I'm Sandra Coker, reminding you that when you invest in people, you invest in profit. See you next time.